Hello from the Engerati studio. I'm Rose Bundock, Head of Commercial Content. Paul Cullum joins us now, Alternative Distribution Manager at HSB Engineering Insurance.
That's right. Hi.
Paul, hi. Thank you for joining us. In our conversation, we're going to unpack your insurance offering for ESCOs for energy efficiency projects. How did this come about? Where did you spot the need for this type of insurance?
Yeah, well, we were involved in writing operational risks for renewable energies for many years. And we started to notice that there was increasing interest in saving energy as well as just generating it. But at the same time, there wasn't really anything in the market in terms of an insurance solution for that. So we saw there's a possible gap in the market to have a look at. So that sort of caused us to have a look at the energy efficiency market in more detail. And we noticed that there was a significant disconnect between investors and ESCOs in the energy efficiency market, and that there was a possibility of an insurance product that could sit between them and provide some benefit for both parties and maybe make it easier to bring them together.
So how does it work? If an ESCO has a project, an EPC contract, they've approached an investor, at what point do you get involved?
Yeah, we will normally get involved quite early on in the project development because obviously there's a huge benefit for the ESCO to have the insurance offering there when they go to the investor. So quite early on in the whole project. If they're able to go to an investor with some sort of insurance guarantee as to the performance of that project, obviously that makes them inherently more investable. So earlier the better, probably.
What's awareness like of this insurance?
I think it's still pretty low. We've been doing our best to try and sort of promote the availability of the product, and these sort of events are really helpful for that. And we go to other energy and renewable and clean energy events around Europe doing that, and in fact further afield. But it's still trying to get the message out. I think still a lot of ESCOs are probably not aware that performance insurance is available for their projects.
Can you foresee that investors might make it a requirement in time to come?
Oh, undoubtedly, and I think some already showing signs of wanting to do that. I mean, we work with some investors who will now look for ESCOs to seek a quotation from us before that they will even consider investing in a project. We've certainly seen that with one major bank in Spain that have been doing that.
So I know you're insuring different parts of the contract, but one part is asset performance.
Yes.
Can you explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, well, obviously as insurers, we're fairly used to insuring assets themselves, and that's not terribly difficult and not terribly unusual. But the actual performance side is very different. A normal insurance contract would require some kind of damage to occur, some event to happen to trigger an insurance claim. With asset performance, what we're covering is effectively a shortfall in the energy savings actually achieved over what was expected. And there doesn't have to be any single event for that to trigger. So what triggers a claim is the fact that at the end of a period of time there has been a shortfall in the savings achieved, regardless of whether anything's happened or not.
Are you able to say what kind of probability there'll be of shortfalls? I mean, from
yes, yeah. I mean, it's quite tricky, but it depends on the complexity of the project. But what we do is when we get an inquiry in, we will look at all of the energy conservation measures that make up that energy savings project, and we will look at each ECM in its own right in terms of how likely we think it is to deliver the savings that are being anticipated. We'll also look at what the best case and worst case scenario around that is. And then very importantly, we also then look at the correlation between the different energy conservation measures if there's more than one. Because quite often we see things like double dipping going on where you may have conflicting energy conservation measures that are trying to save the same piece of energy. It's amazing because you do sometimes find that. So once we have that information and we have that view of what we think the likely performance of those ECMs are and how they're linked, we then use some patented calculation, a patented algorithm to run various Monte Carlo iterations of those performance parameters to find out what the average shortfall is likely to be in any 1 year, and obviously that drives our premium.
Okay. I mean, obviously a lot of SMEs, are small projects, and the investors are looking to aggregate them to save on their own costs. How does it work with insurance if you're getting quite a sort of critical mass of projects?
Right, yeah, well, it's two ways. We can mostly consider individual projects, and we can do anything from sort of a small €50,000 project right up to, say, maybe 10 million. But quite often a very efficient way of doing it, particularly when you've got an ESCO who's producing a sort of a cookie cutter approach to some of their projects. We've done that recently with a lighting specialist ESCO in Ireland, where they're doing a lot of projects of sort of 50, 100,000 pounds, or euros, I should say, in Ireland, 50, 100,000 euros. But it's the same methodology, it's the same technology each time, it's repeatable. So there we're able to carry out an initial piece of due diligence up front, and then offer a consistent rate for their projects as they come on. So rather than have to assess every individual project, we can now just get a declaration from them every month of what projects they've written, and they just go on to a master policy.
Okay. I believe you've been quite active with the SEAF project.
Yes.
Helping develop the online platform eQuad. What value do you see it having in the years to come?
We were really excited to get involved with the SEAF project and the eQuad portal. One of the issues with energy efficiency projects is they are pretty disparate, and you know, from an insurer's point of view, actually getting any kind of distribution is very, very difficult. So a portal that aggregates risks from around 10 different European countries into one place obviously is a huge advantage in terms of distribution, and it's also has huge benefits in terms of reducing the cost of insurance and processing and stuff like that. So if somebody's registering a project on the portal, from an insurance point of view, that most of the information that we require as an underwriter is already being registered onto the portal. So that means we don't have to send out huge data capture sheets to customers. So that reduces a lot of the friction in terms of being able to deliver insurance. So it makes it a lot quicker and easier and potentially cheaper for the customer as well.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for comments. You can watch more energy efficiency videos on the Engerati YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us.